Welcome to the All Facts Matter podcast, where we push back against corporate media propaganda with facts, evidence, and data. I'm Peter, the author of All Facts Matter. Let's begin. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Here we are in a new year with a new presidential administration, and here we are slogging once again through a corrupted and definitely untrustworthy Employment Situation Summary Report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. As job numbers go, the January Employment Situation Summary does not look bad. It does not look great. Unlike Goldilocks, it does not even look just right. As job reports go, the January Employment Situation Summary is just a mess. The numbers and the trends from the two halves of the report once again do not reconcile with each other and do not show complementary trends. And that reality can only mean one thing. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is greeting 2025 with a fresh dose of Lou Costello labor math. Fudging, futzing, and potentially goal-seeking the numbers until every last drop of common sense has been squeezed out of the data and left in a glass on the kitchen counter. As a result, the headline jobs numbers are wholly unreliable. Even the trends underneath must be approached with caution. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is not starting 2025 at all well. Because corporate media insists on approaching the employment situation summary credulously, we must again peel back the layers and look at the detail to understand some of what corporate media has managed to miss yet again. January is structurally a challenging month for the Bureau of Labor Statistics because January is the month when it revises and updates all of its benchmark employment estimates using the quarterly census of employment and wages. Regular visitors here might recognize the quarterly census, as that is also the foundation for the Philadelphia Federal Reserve's early benchmark revisions of state payroll employment, which, as this chart shows, has a much less rosy projection of what actual job growth has been in this country. And a couple of the Philadelphia Fed's early estimates in particular have been notable for essentially shredding the BLS narrative on jobs, arguing that even though the BLS has reported significant job growth at certain points, in fact, there has been no job growth. As a consequence of these annual benchmark revisions, the data as presented in each January's employment situation summary starts off structurally skewed each and every year. As the 2024 benchmark revision data shows, the amount of that skew is substantial. Literally hundreds of thousands of jobs are adjusted each month of the year. Further degrading the January report is the sobering fact that in 2024, the revisions for each month were all negative. In other words, on a month-by-month basis, the BLS overestimated the number of non-farm employees in this country each and every month in 2024. Each and every month in 2024, they overcounted the size of America's payrolls by approximately 626,000 workers. Every single month. From an analytical perspective, that type of consistency in the direction of error indicates a structural defect in the BLS establishment survey. If the revisions were the byproduct of inevitable statistical noise, we would see a mixture of over and underestimation month on month. When we look at these monthly revisions going back over the past 4 years, we see evidence of a growing problem in the establishment survey. In addition to the consistency red flag of 2024, the amount of the monthly revisions are getting larger. And intriguingly, in 2022, the establishment survey uniformly underestimated payroll size, suggesting the error that year in the establishment survey was in the opposite direction. Note, however, that 2022 and 2024 also show the greatest absolute value in the average monthly revision. When the establishment survey is consistently off in the same direction every month is when the survey is off by the greatest amount, either over or under. And what this growing error, structural error, tells us is that the Bureau of Labor Statistics has a fundamental flaw in how it is assessing payrolls in this country. This data doesn't tell us what that error is, but it does indicate that the BLS is not looking at the overall data set correctly. Now, what the benchmark revisions do confirm, however, is that net payroll gains declined every year between 2021 and 2024. While the revisions flipped from undercounting in 2021 and 2022 to overcounting in 2023 and 2024, both with and without revision, net payroll gain has been declining steadily since 2021. Now, ideally, a healthy labor market should show either increasing payroll growth or an approximately steady state in payroll growth. Decreasing payroll growth, which is what we have had for the past 4 years, means the labor markets are steadily slowing. And that is not an optimistic trend, no matter what the Federal Reserve thinks. Now, in addition to the Philadelphia Fed's quarterly and early benchmark estimates, we can also compare the BLS Establishment Survey to ADP's National Employment Report, which is an independent measure of payrolls in the United States. On an annualized basis, the ADP data confirms slowing job growth in this country. So whatever flaws exist in the BLS Establishment Survey portion of the Monthly Employment Situation Summary Report, ADP confirms at least this downward trend in payroll gains. And when we compare the monthly changes in 2024 between ADP and the BLS data, we see broadly the same shifts in payroll gains and in the same direction. However, ADP is neither consistently greater nor smaller in its monthly estimate. And this is the type of variance we should expect to see when all we're looking at for the variance is statistical noise. We don't see a consistent over or underestimation. And this indicates that the ADP data is, at the very least, not injecting the same errors into its estimates of payroll growth as the BLS. Since ADP is showing similar trends to the BLS data, while that BLS data is suspect in terms of specific months, the short-term and even the long-term trends do seem to be fundamentally confirmed. And when we index the ADP data along with total non-farm payrolls and total private payrolls per the BLS starting in January of 2021, we see the long-term trends do largely align between ADP and the BLS. Now, does this mean we should have confidence in the BLS Establishment Survey data? No. Both ADP and the BLS Establishment Survey data are directly challenged by trends shown in the other part of the jobs report, the household survey data showing overall employment levels in this country. When we add the index survey data to the other index data sets, we see the household survey's employment level deviates significantly from the rest of the data. The household survey data shows a significant slowdown in job growth beginning in 2022, from which the jobs market in the U.S. has not really recovered. And longtime visitors to All Facts Matter will recall that I have commented on this slowdown and this stagnation before. And we should note also that these slowdowns are the ones largely confirmed in 2022 and again last year by the Philadelphia Fed's early benchmark estimates. So we have independent confirmation that these slowdowns really did happen. Now, since ADP shows the same trends in the BLS establishment survey and not the household survey, and since the Philadelphia Federal Reserve independently confirms the household survey and not the establishment survey, while ADP might not be suffering from all of the same errors as the establishment survey, we are still presented with data which indicates the ADP National Employment Report potentially shares at least a few structural errors in common with the establishment survey. So that when they are wrong in the same direction and largely to the same degree. And thus, we are challenged to give the ADP report much more credibility than the BLS establishment survey side of its jobs report. ADP might be a little more reliable than the BLS data, but there is not an abundance of reason to believe that it is significantly more reliable. Still, the ADP data does appear to confirm one negative trend from deep within the BLS data. Manufacturing jobs in this country are on the decline. Now, as regular readers of All Facts Matter already know, I see this decline as a particular problem in the U.S. economy. And it is one that I very much hope President Trump succeeds in reversing as he moves forward with Agenda 47. So despite corporate media's relentless cheerleading on the economy, the ADP data, while it gives significant reason to question its accuracy, is nevertheless showing the same flaws in the U.S. economy and in the U.S. jobs market as the BLS data. And that's not a good thing. Now, given the clear structural flaws in the BLS establishment survey, it is only natural to want to place greater reliance on the household survey, the other and less remarked portion of the employment situation summary. At the Philadelphia Fed offers independent confirmation of labor stagnation, the establishment survey and ADP both miss, certainly serves to make a case for the household survey being more reliable. However, the headline employment level numbers at the very least make having complete confidence in the household data unwise. Because as we can see, despite the BLS revising the establishment survey data down, in January, the BLS seasonal adjustment of the household data showed a dramatic shift up. And not only is that surge a dramatic departure from the trend towards stagnation and even decline that has prevailed recently, but as we can see, it is a surprising shift away from this raw data as well. And seasonal adjustments generally should not be shifting away from the raw data too often or too much. And even when we look at the month-on-month changes in the employment level, January is still a surprising deviation. That January surprise, however, is simply the result of the Bureau of Labor Statistics gathering all months' year-end revisions into a single change and not backfilling throughout the year. And when it reports the cumulative year-end changes for 2024, we are told that the employment level in this country in 2024 was undercounted by about 2 million jobs. And so it added 2 million jobs into the January 2025 data. While the BLS does not back that revision out in any presentation, we can easily do so by subtracting it from the January 2025 data. When we do, the month-on-month changes for the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 then appear quite differently. Without that 2 million bump in jobs in the year-end adjustment, the January 2025 change in the employment level is considerably less on a seasonally adjusted basis, and it's even negative on an unadjusted basis. As that 2 million bump in jobs is a cumulative increase, the apparent surge in overall employment for January per the household survey data is in fact an illusion. If anything, the household survey data shows continued softening in the labor markets month on month in both the seasonal and the raw data. Now, that assessment of the household survey is confirmed by the continued rise in those not in the labor force. Now, if we eliminated the year-end adjustment for that survey demographic, that would reduce, but it would not eliminate that rise for January. Further, with the year-end adjustment included, the January change in the unemployment level shows an encouraging decline. And we should note also that if we back out the year-end adjustment of 106,000 unemployed individuals, that would make the decline greater. Unfortunately, that bit of good news is largely mooted by the ongoing rise among those in the labor force. When we take into account the overall impact of the year-end adjustments in the household survey data, what we see is that any decline in the unemployment level is merely a shifting of non-working individuals from the unemployment category to the not in labor force category. In other words, the household survey data is still not showing any actual sustained growth in unemployment. That the BLS data is sloppy and structurally flawed has at this point been proven in abundance. That corporate media can still take the monthly job reports at face value is quite a remarkable demonstration of commitment to narrative, even at the expense of credibility and common sense. Whether the large revisions being made are the result of deliberate malfeasance or simple ignorance is, at this point, almost moot. The end result is still the same: sloppy data with diminished utility for developing a complete picture of the state of U.S. labor markets. The end result is data that does not add up without a goodly dose of vaudevillian mathematical mangling, which I have long labeled Lou Costello labor math in homage to the classic Abbott and Costello skit 7 times 13 is 28. Even so, that sloppy data has, contrary to the bloviations of government experts and the corporate media chattering class, consistently and persistently shown significant and growing weaknesses within the U.S. labor market. That sloppy data has shown for months that this country is in a jobs recession. We are not producing anywhere near the number of jobs this country needs to ensure the working age population is gainfully employed. That sloppy data has, for over a year, sounded the alarm on manufacturing in this country. And this, in particular, is a trend Donald Trump must work to reverse if he is ever to fulfill his Agenda 47 campaign promise of making the United States a manufacturing superpower. We cannot be a manufacturing superpower at the same time the economy is losing manufacturing jobs. Most of all, that sloppy data still manages to show how corporate media is either gaslighting the public or simply does not care enough about accurate reporting to take the time to fully understand the data. Every time corporate media talks up the strength of the economy and the resilience of labor markets, they are spouting mostly pure nonsense. Weak job markets mean more and more people are seeing prosperity slip out of their grasp. Weak job markets mean more and more people are not earning sufficiently to generate the consumption upon which the U.S. economy is highly dependent. No job means no money, means no buying of anything. Weak job markets are a major reason people are struggling to pay their bills and put food on the table. Consumer price inflation hits people hardest when their wages are unable to rise to match the rise in consumer prices. And a weak jobs market means wages do not rise as they should. A great many people have reacted to the incoming Trump administration with a burst of hope and even optimism that this country is perhaps starting to move in a positive direction. Perhaps they are right. One certainly hopes that they are. Thus far, the jobs data has yet to show that jobs markets are moving in a positive direction. We are in a new year, and we are at the start of a new presidential administration. But we are still stuck with the same bad jobs data and the same bad jobs news from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that is not a good thing. And that concludes this presentation. I hope you found this podcast helpful and informative. Please like it and share this with your friends. Word of mouth is how I publicize my work. Please also consider making a one-time donation or becoming a paid subscriber to All Facts Matter. Your support is what keeps this work going, and I greatly appreciate all of my subscribers. Without you, this work would have no meaning. I encourage everyone to be especially generous with feedback. Leave a word or two in the comments section so that we can keep the discussion going and that we may learn from each other. Thank you all for listening, and have a nice day.